there have been plenty of sports myths throughout the years of sports and the history of sports, and plenty of mythical people as well. People like Jim Thorpe, Babe Ruth, and the one that I'm going to be talking about today, Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson is widely known as the greatest athlete of all time. He played football, was a track star, played for the Kansas City Royals. We've all seen Bo highlights of him running up that wall for Kansas City. We've all seen the 4.1 40-yard dash that he recorded. But today I'm going to be talking about a specific story that ESPN did in their 30 for 30 You Don't Know Bo, where he was hunting, or, when he was a kid, killed a bird on someone else's property that he shouldn't have been, where he shouldn't have been, and was being chased by the property owner. And he cleared a ditch that was 40 feet wide, according to stories. Now, this is a really cool myth, because one attribute of this myth that, truly is a myth, is that Bo Jackson actually came out and told ESPN, well, listen, that was just a little, it wasn't a lie, but it got stretched. So what he said was he jumped from a elevated place down to a lower area, and he said he jumped about 20 feet and he got a really running head start. So no, it wasn't 40 feet. So that makes the myth, right? But there's also other elements of this story that make it a myth. One other part of this story that makes it a myth is that, in a myth, you're trying to propagate someone else's and really show someone else's athleticism in terms of sports, right? So the point of this story was to tell people like Bo Jackson was this otherworldly athlete, otherworldly human being that could do all these amazing feats, like jump 40 feet across a ditch, right? So any story that is trying to prop up another person's athleticism or gift that stretches the truth is an attribute of a myth. Another attribute of a myth is that it gets changed hundreds of times. This story was not only reported by ESPN. There's been plenty of YouTube videos, articles, and different documentaries have mentioned it. And the story changes every time between person to person. This is what makes a myth a myth. When the original story is impressive, but the person who tells it afterward decides, I want to make this myth more impressive, not only for myself, but for the fans of Bo Jackson, let's say. So they add 10 feet to that story, right? And then let's say the person who heard it after that goes, wow, that was really impressive. I'm going to add another 10 feet onto that. So overall, this is why I think this is a really cool myth in sports history and why I chose to talk about it today. Thanks.